Epic Gaming Night is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. We're on the countdown to not many episodes left, but Matt and Rob are here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Hype.
Tom asked me what I was doing since the podcast is winding down. I'm like, we're counting down the episodes. And he's like, I like when people do that. And I'm like, yeah, everybody in chat goes, boo! You just make everybody mad.
I think everybody will be okay.
Yeah. They just, listen, if you
thinking about
need
it
more
earlier
Rob,
today.
just buy his book. I mean, honestly.
Man, I'm excited about that. I won't talk about it on the show, but a lot of big stuff is happening, and so I'm excited.
Why won't you talk about it? What does it even matter?
Yeah, I mean, we
Oh,
can...
are you not allowed to talk about it? Or do you have your own NDAs, Rob?
No. I'm just excited so far with the success so far of the first one, and just what's going on, and my goal. That sci-fi. You remember that sci-fi book I gave you, Matt, that you never read?
Yep. Hey, man, I read
What is this? Is this the same
60
one
pages.
with the app stuff, or is this completely?
Yeah, it's the one that you're dead. I'm self-publishing that one in September.
Oh, dag.
I hired this professional artist, and I'm really excited about him. He does great work to do my cover. But then I got to start working on 2 sequels. One for the book that got published, and then I probably am going to push off the sequel to app for a while, just because I have like so many other ideas on my head. But now that I have like a book out that's a part of a series, like I need to get that series done and going on. And so I'm beyond thankful. But man, I had an idea hit me earlier today for like another book series.
Oh, dag.
Bro, and I'm super excited about it because it's kind of like it's a crazy story. It's a crazy story. If I'm able to pull off what I thought about earlier, it's gonna be kind of crazy. And so anyway, but I'm excited. The book's doing really great. For anybody that's read it, thank you so much. I've gotten great reviews. It's already sold out print twice. They've had a
Dag, that's awesome.
reorder.
Were they super conservative with it at first, and then they had to be like, oh no, we need more of this, or?
And I won't know the numbers actually until August. So they could have ordered like 3, and then my order of 3 was like, oh, okay, we're out. But even if that's the case, it feels good to get an email saying, hey, your book's on back order.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. But yeah, man. So I'm just excited about what's happening and the different things that are going on, and
Yeah.
the opportunities it's presenting for my future. So
Awesome.
I don't feel bad about saying it now. I wasn't ever going to say it before because we're a podcast before, but now we're done. So you know what? I'm a writer. Read my stuff. Pay the monies.
What does it matter anymore? It's like, hey, the epic book reading, the stories that Rob creates. That's the new podcast. It's about the stories that Rob creates.
I don't know. Some of them are pretty good.
Nice. I mean, I'd like to think we had some positive influences in your life, so that way you rock.
Oh, for the book?
You
No,
wrote characters that you killed off in the book to take it out your vengeance on, because you couldn't kill us in real life, so you wrote us into your book and then killed us there. I just got to figure out which character that is.
You know what? I would happily kill you off in this new idea that I had today, because there's a lot of that in this new.
At least let me betray somebody first, Rob.
I don't know.
At least that way I
know.
deserve it.
We'll see. But anyway, yeah. You know what? If anybody was going to betray, it would be you.
There you go. Awesome. Nice.
So anyway.
So we did want to talk about a little bit of news stuff as far as board game relating things go. One thing that I'm really excited about is the Trudvang Kickstarter is coming out tomorrow. Like, they hadn't officially announced when it was coming out at all. And then, like, yesterday I saw Eric Lang was like, this Kickstarter comes out in 2 days. And I'm like, holy smokes, is that soon? And then I just saw a thing that's like 24 hours and we're launching this Kickstarter. So they're doing the like $10 off for the first day thing again. How do you feel about that?
Cost?
I mean, I don't mind it. I feel like it's a way to get their numbers to surge, right? So like
that's what you have to do with Kickstarters, right?
Right. Because you want to fund in the first 24 to 48 hours with Kickstarters.
But how much do you think
if you don't, it just sits
after
there
the first 24 hours?
I don't really think it deters that much because when I look at it, it's just $10. So it's just like, that's 2 Starbucks coffees. And if you look at it in terms of like a total cost thing, it's 1/9 of the cost overall. So It's not, if it were half off, that would be like, all right, well, we're getting this immediately. And, but I think $10 is a good amount for them to keep doing this sort of, I guess, experiment that they're doing. I don't know. Yeah, and it's like a lot of other games, like Awakened Realms and even Dinogenics and their Kickstarter. If you back during the first 24 or 48 hours, they'll give you like a free character or some free like wood pieces or something like that to be compensating. So
yeah, man. Did you back the new Awakened Realms?
No.
I looked at it. It looks pretty crazy.
It looks crazy, but I'm still.
Don't do 2-wave, Rob. Don't do 2-wave.
You're not joking.
Hey, my 2-wave for Nemesis they sent me an email. They were like, "Hey, man, we're just gonna let you know we're changing your update status to be delivered soon." And I was like, "Okay, whatever y'all say."
Yeah, man. But dude, the Etherfields is already up to, it's almost 3 million.
That's crazy.
It's like 2.5, basically.
In the studio, they've been saying that Awakened Realms is overtaking Kickstarter from CMON. I think they've already taken it at this point, right?
They're huge. They had the biggest Kickstarter last year,
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, this year they've been crushing it. It's crazy.
I hope that they can deliver, because the thing is they're making these amazing looking games, but they've been months and in some cases years, not just years late on certain stuff like that. So it's just like, man, like I hope they can get their act together and get stuff situated, and like at least CMON, right? Because CMON is going to say that their thing is going to, come out next May. Like, let's just say when it launches tomorrow, they're going to say next May, either next April or next May. But it's really going to come out in June, July. But at least we know, like CMON, give it a 3-month window. Where Awakened Realms, man, when were we supposed to get Nemesis? And like I just got my. Right before CMON, I just got my thing. So, yeah. Well, no, Lords of Hellas, but also my base box for Nemesis.
Oh, damn.
I was supposed to get Nemesis in 2017.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nemesis, or not Nemesis, Lords of Hellas, I was supposed to have in 2017.
Oh, dag.
And I just got it a few weeks ago.
Nemesis is estimated delivery September 2018.
Oh, gotcha. So it was like...
Well, estimated delivery 2018 December, and we're almost in August. So, they're already looking at a 7-month delay. Right?
That's just because you have to put like an estimated delivery window in Kickstarter. So like that's
but you shouldn't be off by 7+ months. You shouldn't be off by 6+ months. You're off by half a year. They're already over half of a year.
Yeah,
that's my
overestimating that way too much.
I feel like the one thing that I like about CMON, I feel like CMON offers a lot more for their Kickstarter exclusives because they are hardcore when it comes to their exclusives, right? I don't feel like Awakened Realms is as crazy with their exclusive stuff or like their deals, and so I don't mind now I don't mind paying for it retail because one, I'll get it a year plus earlier than everybody else that backed it, and two, I should eventually be able to buy your other stuff, you know.
Yeah, who knows?
So we'll see. But Etherfields looks cool. I like the idea of what you're doing and like this dream thing and all this other kind of stuff that's going on. It looks great, and they make beautiful games. Like I like Nemesis. I think it looks great. I like Lords of Hellas.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks great. But man, I just Simon and Eric Lang for me is like a win-win. And so tomorrow,
I feel like Simon or Come On's games are tighter.
never gonna call it. Come on.
Who knows? Who knows if it's going to change back or not? Anyway, but yeah, I feel like their games are just like more developed and tighter. I think the Awakened Realms is doing some really interesting stuff, but I don't think they run nearly as tight of a ship. You know, it feels slightly loose. Even like just the way the games play feel a lot looser to me for some reason. So.
Well, I think
I'm really excited about the
comment about
Trudvang game because it's going to be Simon like doing a story game, which I don't think. I mean, do they have any games that you would really consider like lots of thematic story in them?
Not out right now.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see this game and see what they do because, I mean, he's talking about it being reminiscent of playing role-playing games and like filling out all that story stuff, and it's going to be like characters doing adventure checks and different things and battling dragons and stuff, and the story persists from game to game. So it's got some scenario stuff in it, but you don't have to play with the same people, and you also can reset it, so you can undo the board changes and stuff like that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And I interviewed Eric on it at the expo, and so yeah, I just avoided saying the name, the expo, and it was really cool. So I was like, man. I see this is kind of the game I like, and then also like when he's like releasing the next Rising Sun thing, I'll be on for that too. But another thing we need to talk about is that crazy digital board thing. Did you see that,
I was
Matt?
about to bring that up. Yeah.
Did you see that, Matt?
Matt, have you seen that?
What? No, I haven't.
You should just literally go watch the video now. So how'd they call it? Like, what is the name of that? I don't know how to pronounce that word, whatever that thing is called. So they're making a new Zombicide that is going to be using a digital board that goes underneath the board game board, and you'll have basically RFIDs in the miniatures, in the miniature base that you clip on, and it will actually like recognize where the miniatures are on the board. It'll make like noises and things like that when you open different doors. It's basically like app-driven games on steroids because the app recognizes where the pieces actually are. And on top of that, they show dice. They show dice that have batteries in them, and it recognizes what you roll. So it's like Bluetooth enabled. And not only are you you can work with an iPad to show you the map, but then also other people can download an app, and then you have your player boards on your phone, and you're trading items back and forth over your phone. So everybody's connected through their devices to the player board itself, or the entire board itself. And not only do they show this new Zombicide game coming out, I forgot what it's like, new Zombicide, but they're supposed to be showing demos off of this at Gen Con. Also, they're showing it working with Death May Die and showing it working with Project Elite, like in the thing. They show like pictures of those games on it.
I don't see why they couldn't just buy dice and those new custom bases.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the only thing that may be a little tricky is, like, if you do buy, like, a base that just has a sensor in it and you're playing a game that's not the official digital version, you may need to just type in what character you are, like, when you're playing Zombicide, because there's so many characters out now.
Right.
But I would happily type in that other thing rather than... Because I really don't want to buy Zombicide all over again. I have so much of it. I don't want to buy the base all over again because I have every season of the base now. But man, it looks so amazing, and I'm excited for its future. Matt, one of us will text you that video.
I'm watching it right now.
Bro, it looks so good. I sent it to I tagged my wife in it on Facebook, and she talked to me later. She just like gave me that eye roll, like, I was like, babe, that just looks. It just looks so cool. And I mean, it's not that it just looks really cool, but I love the idea of the whole app integration and the board and everything working together. and I could just see that being played like on a really sick, amazing gaming table. That would be cool.
Right?
Like that's the type of technology that's as far as I want technology to go for board games outside of holograms. I think
Right.
the only
I feel
other
like
thing
this
I
is
would
cool
want
because
is a hologram. But besides that, nothing else.
Eric was talking at Dice Tower Con a lot about trying to figure out ways to lower the barrier of entry to board games. And the fact that when you have these digital games, I mean, just like Mansions of Madness, you throw it on the table and you basically just start the game. You're like, okay, this is what you can do for your actions.
Yeah.
And like the game just starts. Like if this allows you to just start games as opposed to like having to learn the rules and having to do all this stuff, if it can guide you through these games and make it easier, I mean, it'll just make the games easier for people to play. And especially if they start making this backwards compatible with a lot of their other games. I mean, now I'm like, man, if I got that, like, what other games would I need? Like, do I just want all the games that work with this? Because that would be awesome. Because I just really have enjoyed the app games I've played so far that have really good app integration. So we'll have to see how CMON ends up doing it.
I'm excited. I'm beyond excited for it. I think it looks great. However, I don't know.
That's weird.
One, I want to see if it is backwards compatible.
Right. Well, I'm sure it's not going to be every single game in their library up front. If they did,
but
that
like
would be
Zombicide,
massive.
for example, like I said, I won't back it if I can't use what I already have. I don't think
Right.
that's fair. I understand like Nintendo Switch and like the video game companies have done that where.
Well, I mean, all they have to do
like-
is program all the characters in, right?
Yeah, that's my point. Is just do that. Like, don't expect me to go out and buy the old stuff. You know, I don't know. I hope not, but I could also see them doing that to push their old product. Type
Apparently,
of thing.
they've
They'll
been working on this for a really long time. Because I had actually heard whispers of this before it was actually announced, but Tom said they played it at Essen, like a super beta prototype, and they were just blown away by it. So I'm really excited to see what it looks like at Gen Con. I'm definitely going to be like, I don't even care about Zombicide that much, but it looks like they're even adding story stuff into Zombicide now.
Listen, man, you need to care about Zombicide.
Well, if
We've
they
had a
start
crazy
adding
day.
like even more like interesting things like story and flavor and stuff like that, it's like, oh, you open the door and like you meet this person and you make this choice or that choice. Like if that sort of thing gets added into a zombie game, make it more like, I don't know,
Mansions
Telltale-ish,
of Madness.
I'm in. You know,
That's what it seems like to me. Is it can take a game of Zombicide, which is sort of just like you playing Left 4 Dead 2, where you're just running around shooting things,
right?
and trying to get through as fast as possible, and turn it into something that's more narrative driven, almost like an Alien Isolation or something.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
And the fact that the
I-
board can be generated by the app and you don't have to put the whole thing out at first necessarily.
Yeah.
You can open doors and new rooms open up just like Mansions of Madness. The exploration would be huge, you know.
So my thing is, though, that means all of the board tile pieces have to be RFID integrated. All of
Not
the character
necessarily.
bases.
I don't know
Not
how
if you
far
can
they're
program
doing
them
it.
in.
I mean, normally, if it's just like, hey, if the board like has certain patterns on it or is built a certain way, you can be like,
Yeah.
it'll be like, oh, put this piece up against this edge, and then from there it'll know like, okay, these are here, and when you put the character on the place in those 8 different areas, it would know which room it's
Okay.
in.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but
so.
also at
but
the
it's
same
like
time,
if you.
You can like if you just load up a certain mission, it should be able to know. Okay, based off of the mission, the board looks like this.
Yeah,
Right.
but what I'm saying is if you don't set it up exactly the way it wants you to in the app, like if something's slightly off, you could move your character and then the app not know how to interpret where it's been moved to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just in the video you just watched it, did they show something like when he cracks open the door?
It made
know,
like
'cause, like,
door
there's that
sounds
feature.
and things like that, so I have no clue how far
But
they're
is
going.
no,
with
but
this.
that door piece did it look like a cardboard door piece, or did it look like something that had a chip or something on it?
I'm not sure. Like honestly, that's why I'm excited to see how far they've taken it and talk to him more about this at Gen Con.
Well, that's what freaks me out is because if it does, it sounds like more and more like you are going to have to buy or rebuy,
Old
some of
stuff.
the new stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see.
I mean, if you could just use the same characters, that would be huge because there's a massive amount of characters in that game, right?
Well, a massive amount of characters. Like I probably have 100+ different characters. Because I have like some of those promo packs, and then He Who Shall Not Be Named to myself. We both went in on some promo packs where he got some characters, I got some characters.
It's been getting a
and then
lot of hate online from the board game community because people are like, I don't want apps in my board games. It's just the same
That makes
Great.
and true thing.
and they can all go play Concordia. No, like to each their own. I get it. Some people don't. And what's great about that is it's not like they've come out with an exclusive game just for it just yet. You know, they probably will if it has some, success.
I used to preach a lot about like the fact that board games allow you to get away from screens and not have to like look at computers and things like that. But as time's gone on, I've realized the thing that I really care about is the fact that you're interacting with the other people around the table. And it's like that's the part that I'm missing. And this doesn't hinder you from interacting with the other people, And that's the part that I enjoy. It's like as long as I'm still playing the game and we together are making decisions or we're making decisions against each other or there's some sort of face-to-face interaction and discussion going on in between us, that's the part that's really important to me.
And the idea that you can play a game and not necessarily have to know the whole rules like the game.
Okay.
That's my thing, especially for us that like buy so many games. Like there are even times where I'm finding myself looking through the rule book. Like next time I play Mansions of Madness, it's been several months since I played. I still love it. Still a top game of me for all time. But I'll probably jump through the rule book again because like crap, how many stuff? Like what do we do again?
Yeah.
And so to have that happy reminder type of a thing.
Especially setup for a lot of games just requires you to bust out the rule book.
Brutal.
Because it's just like, all right. I mean, even smaller games, it's like, hang on, how many things do we get a piece? Is it 5 or 7, or is it one of those things where the first player gets 5 and then it goes up for every other person?
If everybody's using an app on their phone, it'd be annoying to have to download the app. But when it's automatically like, okay, these are the starting items your character gets. This is what you start with. This is what your health's at. This is what that's at. And then put this starting piece on the board. Let's go.
But see, that's what I do like about Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. The only thing is like sorting all this stuff out beforehand, because if you have a lot of the older stuff that integrated over, if it says library, well, which library? Because there's like 6 library tiles.
Oh, yeah.
But that's one thing I like about the app is you can set up which tiles you want it to be, and it'll tell you where to go. So I don't know. I think the future is bright. I'm excited to see it. Everything is becoming more digital anyway, and so I understand the fight for analog, but also the fight for digital. And if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, great. Keep playing what you're playing.
I was going to say, I think they both have a place in board gaming.
Yeah,
right.
But I shudder to think
exclude the other.
of what the price of this is.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, it's probably going to be like a few $100s, if not more.
Like, I feel like they could probably sell a bunch of units if it were $100, and then you tack on a zombie side for an additional like 80, so you have a 180 all-in purchase price. I think if it goes above that, people are going to be like, "But do I need it?"
Well, then the other question is, do they sell universal bases per game, or do you then have to buy bases?
I think you could just have like a base and then let the app know, okay, purple is this character, green is this character.
That's
okay,
what.
But let's say they ever come out with that with Blood Rage. Not that I don't see how Blood Rage would interact or would necessarily need that, because a lot of Blood Rage is like in the card you draft, so like the app doesn't need to know what you draft.
Right.
But you would need how many? 10 plus regular purple bases,
it's gonna be real
and then,
hard with that sort of thing,
Yeah, when you get into stuff like that.
Well,
it's
and
not
then
easy with those character games.
With Zombie Side, don't they have larger characters that have a bigger base in general?
Only now on Zombie Side, Green Horde with the dragons. Well, the dragons don't necessarily get the base, but they have this giant character. Last time I played with him, he was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. And I wrecked shop with him. Such a fun game.
Watching the trailer, it does seem like what Roy is saying, where it's the bases are designed to swap the characters in and out, so you'll just tell the app what you're playing and what color your base is. Probably. So in theory, they could program all of the old characters from all of the old games in a backlog through it, and then you just buy the system and you can play with pretty much anything.
Bro, what if you're playing games one day and all of a sudden this thing pipes up, "Get that drink off the table, please." Bro! Did you wash your hands after eating Cheetos, Matt? Robert, that's way
AI's
too
gone
much
too
salt.
far. The singularity
Gone
has
too
infected
far.
board games.
It has.
Oh
excited.
goodness. Awesome. Well, I guess we can get into what we've been playing real quick. So hey, you guys played any games?
I played some new kid games.
Oh, sweet.
I played that Unicorn Glitter Luck stacking game.
Oh, sweet.
My daughters absolutely love that game. And then we played this. I don't have it in front of me, actually. I feel terrible. It's a new Habba. Well, it's not new, but it's new for us. It's a Habba game. It's like this dragon. You have these dragons, and you have these rings,
awesome.
and you have the gems inside of them. And you're trying to. What you're trying to do is. There are these 5 tokens that are placed down every round, and they represent different colors.
Yeah.
And the first person is going to pick a color, and it passes around. And so some people may have 2 colors, some people may only have 1, depending on how many you're playing. And you pull up a ring, and whatever gems fall out, if they don't fall into the holes in the game board, the other gems that are left out, you get to collect those gems that match your color. So when you're choosing a gem, you're trying to choose a gem. All right, I think blue crystals are going to fall a lot this round. So, because you can see them, and so you just want to kind of guess that way. And so we had a lot of fun playing that. And so Habba, it's been for our family for this week, just playing family games. But Habba's so great.
Yeah,
They're so amazing. So
you always love going by their booth. I got to play a game called Dragon Scales, and this is a new Richard Lanius game. I think it's either going to be demoed at Gen Con or it's coming out at Gen Con, either way. But it's basically like a game where there's multiple different in-game conditions. So either A, the game can end by killing the dragon. Then, if it ends by killing the dragon, whoever has the most points wins there. It can end by a player escaping. So if a player escapes, then whoever actually escapes just straight up wins the game. Or it can end by all the other players except for one dying. So if the other players end up dying, then the player that survives wins. But basically you're like all fighting this 3-headed dragon, and you're trying to figure out whether you're going to run, whether you're going to stay, what you're going to do. And you get points by doing majority of damage in the head into the different heads. There's like a green head, a red head, and a blue head. And
there is.
Fire, ice, yeah. It's not hair type, Rob. But
no, the dragon head.
You're trying to do damage to the different ones, and it's kind of like majority gets the most points for each head you knock out. You can also collect treasures, so you're trying to steal the dragon's treasure as well, and those will give you different abilities used during the game, but it'll also give you points at the end of the game. But basically the way it works is each turn you're going to roll a bunch of dice, and then you get like re-rolls, very like Yahtzee-ish, but then you assign those dice to different actions on the board simultaneously. Well, not simultaneously. You figure out what your dice are simultaneously. Then, in turn order, players assign their dice to the different types of actions. You can either A, defend against attacks. There are sides of the dice that are the dragon eye. That means that the dragon's going to damage you, which is how you can get hurt in the game. Then there's one where you can try to grab more cards from your deck, because each player has different unique characters. Like I was playing like Death Bane Grimlord or something like that, some undead guy. There's like a spider lady. There's also like a giant like squid eyeball guy. The characters are all like bad guys that are very unique, but I really like the miniatures for this game as well, mostly because like the eyeball guy reminds me of like Monster Rancher. I don't know why, but anyway, I was wondering if that was a reference Matt would get, but maybe not.
I mean, I don't think I was really into it, but I think I know what you're talking about.
I mean, I wasn't into it either, but I just remember a giant eyeball guy. Anyway, but yeah, so the game was actually super fun. It's like a press your luck sort of thing where you're trying to figure out how many times you want to re-roll the dice without trying to take too much damage from the dragon, and then going out and fighting the dragon to try to like get points, but then also trying to escape at the same time, because if you can get out, then you win. And it's also a lot of like, there's a decent amount of like take that of like using different powers to mess over the other players. But you don't necessarily want everybody to die if you don't know that you're gonna like have the right amount of points to do things. So, but definitely a super cool game. That's Dragon Scales. It's one that I'm actually like excited to like pick up, because it was really fun to play. We played it live on Testing Tuesday last week. If you want to watch a video of it, but yeah, good times.
Solid.
Man, it sounds good, but I've been looking at this Ether Fields thing the whole time.
That's gonna cost you all the monies.
I'm not gonna back it.
You're what?
I'm not gonna back it.
That's like
I think-
for sure.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
I'm
but
also not going to
has,
back it.
It has the same problem for me that what was their previous one? Tainted Grail did, where I feel like their board is just comprised of a bunch of small cards, and I'm just
That's
like
exactly-
that doesn't appeal to me. Like I would rather have cool cardboard chunky tiles that you lay out, and you're like, yeah I'm building a map. And here it's just like, all right, I'm playing solitaire with plastic. But that's just personal preference. So
Everybody's trying to talk Rob out
Hey,
of doing it in the
Side
chat. They're
note,
like, remember
Matt,
Lords
did you
of
see that
Hellas?
trailer?
They
Matt, did you
haven't
see
been
that
forgiven
for The
yet.
Witcher?
yeah, I saw it.
That not impressed? Did it not? No.
It's okay. Okay, so I haven't read the books. For a first trailer, yeah, it's pretty solid. We're talking about The Witcher, by the way, since Rob was whispering.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Sorry. I know Matt and I. We both played the Witcher series. I don't know if he's played all of them, but they just released a trailer from Comic-Con, and this is like pre the book, pre the games. So
Yeah.
anyway.
So, I don't know, it looks good. I'm just some of the costuming choices seem a little weird to me. Like it's like very clearly Henry Cavill in a wig. You're just like,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
How strange.
Yeah.
But,
All right. My bad. I didn't mean to derail. Sorry.
Nice. Well, before
you play
Matt has
anything,
to
Matt?
leave, let's.
I played The Mind. It's The Mind. It was pretty good.
Did
Hey,
you get
it
to
is
100?
No, we only got to like round 6 or 7. Fun fact about The Mind: the first time you open your brand new copy, you want to shuffle it a lot, like a lot. Like basically just
Maximum entropy for the deck.
absolutely, because like the first couple of rounds that we played, it was just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna set down a card, and then the next one is just the exact one right after it. So it's just like it came down entirely to luck. And it was just like, well, what a great way to show off a game.
There you go.
It's better when it's shuffled, I promise.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, it wasn't bad at all.
Nice.
Noise. Boom.
Awesome. So we want to talk a little bit about memories of Epic Gaming Night.
I don't wanna do
since we've had. You gonna tear up, Rob?
And you know what? Honestly, I was thinking about this earlier today, and I did tear up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some definitely
Yeah.
awesome times overall. I mean, our history's been pretty interesting. Like, literally, for people that don't know, like, this podcast started, like, I had a game night at my house, and I invited Matt over, and I had met Rob at a game day that had happened in that December of that year, and I started doing the game night at my own place in, like, January. So then I was trying to find people to invite, ended up having Rob and Matt over and everybody, and we played a lot of social deduction games thing, and Matt had just been introduced to board games. Like, when Matt started the podcast, you were, like, brand new in board gaming, basically.
Yeah.
And now look
Yep.
behind you. No, I'm just kidding. What have we done to you?
So much money. I could have probably bought a car for all that.
Oh, man. But yeah, and so then I was like, hey, let's stream these on Twitch. So we started streaming everything on Twitch. And we had a
You
lot of
guys
fun with
remember
that.
when we had that Twitch guy on?
Man,
Oh god.
man, it was
Yeah, he was like, "Hey Pikachu," and I'm like, "What's up, bud?"
man, it was fun because
Oh,
we
wait,
would
what are you
have.
talking
I mean, we were streaming board games on Twitch before Geek and Sundry was ever on Twitch.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty crazy. So,
Before it was even-
I mean, there was no one there. Like, literally, they didn't have a tag on Twitch for you to be able to tag board games to. So I always had to tag it to, like, Tabletop Simulator and stuff like that. Because it's like, no, people don't play analog games on Twitch. What's wrong with you? And, like, I messaged Twitch and stuff like that and just never got any replies. And, like, hey, you should make a tag so I can actually tag this as actual board games. Of course, when Geek and Sundry got on there, they immediately did it. Because Geek and Sundry said the same thing. They're like, oh, yeah, you're a big company. Or you have a fan base. Let's do this. But we had a ton of fun. Like, there were people that used to recur and come back. But after a while, like, we would just spend time, like, talking about games and stuff afterwards. So we're like, hey, let's just do the, like, I was like, I want to start a podcast. I was like, Matt, you want to do a podcast with me? And Rob was like, man, if you're going to do a podcast, I'd like to come on the show. I was like, well, Rob, actually, I was thinking about, like, having you be a host on the show.
Yeah, I said
Like,
if you guys ever need a guest, let me know.
and I was like, no, that's not the plan. The plan is, Rob, you're part of this.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine how much more boring the show would have been if Rob wasn't here?
It would just
Probably
be
would've
me
been
talking
better.
to Matt.
It's just Roy talking the whole time, and I'm like, wow,
At
that sounds
Matt.
really interesting.
I'm talking at Matt.
No, man.
Whole lot
would've
more
been-
yes.
It would have been on point. It would not be derailed. And, it would probably be.
Listen, people come for the
99%
derailing.
about-
Yeah, man, that's part of the charm.
I mean, that was one of the things also, too, like, when we started this podcast that I always, like, wanted, because I really enjoyed listening to other podcasts, like, when they just talked about whatever and had fun and bantered about the games, instead of just, like, a deep analysis or, like, just talking about the mechanics and stuff like that. I want to talk about, like, the fun times we had playing the game. Like, oh my goodness, Roy did this, and oh my goodness, can you believe what AJ did? And oh my goodness, remember that one time when Hector and his roommate like just wrecked us all in One Night Ultimate Werewolf? Oh man, just like remembering all these memories of playing the game, I feel like made the games more exciting to me than just hearing about like, oh yeah, and then everybody like they pass a card to the left, and then you take one. No. It's about
What
like,
was
remember the
my
time he Loki stretched
psychic
me and I ran
connection
out of
with
rage at the
Hector?
last second?
I had a weird connection with Hector, man.
Oh yeah.
I just knew.
You probably still do, honestly.
Man, that was so much fun. That was so much. That happened multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times. I think the craziest one though was when we played Betrayal House on the Hill for the second time, and I looked at him
Before the game was set up.
for it even. We're setting it up, and I'm like, "Look, bro, it's gonna be you, and you're gonna have to chase me, and you're gonna have to do all this other kind of stuff." And he's like, "No, man, not gonna happen." Okay, what happens? That's exactly what happens. It's him, and he has to kill my character to win. And Matt just kept chilling in the basement, and Roy's like, "Matt, come help me."
iron.
No. Matt, Roy
There was nothing I could do. Had to get that strength up, baby.
Roy. Roy
I was
definitely,
like, Matt,
picked up.
are we working together? Because I'm not quite sure you understand how this game works.
Oh man.
And you're
Oh,
like,
man.
dude, I'm pumping iron. Leave me alone.
The-
I was
man.
like, dude, we can make a bucket chain. What were we having to do? Like pass a body or something like that, trying to get it buried before Rob got
yeah,
killed.
I think so.
So I was like,
'Cause
listen,
I
if I stand here and you walk there and drop it to me, then I can walk here and drop it to this person that they can take and go bury it. You're like, no, but strength.
Once you explained what you were trying to do, it made sense, and I was like, okay, cool. But before that, I was like, what can I do? It's a ghost. Come on.
I was trying.
I'm a dude with a Letterman's jacket. Like, what?
And I'm sure we probably live streamed that stuff or something. It's probably back on the channel somewhere. Who knows? But it's like
Entirely
everybody's
because
probably
you
like,
played
Roy
music.
is the most alpha gamer person ever, and I'm like, no, Matt won't talk to me. But he's just like, nah.
Oh man, that was fun. I think what really set it off the podcast for me, I wrote down memories and stuff, but to me, like the first game that like really set our podcast up to me, and I'll never get over this, and I'll never forget it, was our game of Rex. I'll never.
And I never got you guys to
ever
play
wanna
that
play the
game
game
again,
again.
which makes me depressed because I love that game.
Well, I don't want to play it because I don't want to ruin what happened.
You don't
They're
wanna
coming.
ruin
They're coming
the
out with
incredible
Dune,
memory
the
of
actual
shit.
Dune version of the game at
I'll
Gen
play
Con.
Dune. I'll play Dune. But we, after everything that happened with Rex, we sat in your driveway while you're looking down on us for over an hour talking about that game.
Talking
I
about
remember
me.
myself.
Thanks.
Oh, bro, AJ was so pissed. I
love that game.
Mad. Oh, it was so fun. Oh, that was so.
That's how
fun.
the game's supposed to work.
Oh,
And I felt
livid.
I felt so bad because at one point
for him.
me and Danny took him into our alliance out of sympathy, and we
Yeah.
were over on the other side, and AJ was across the table, and me and Danny are beside each other, and I'm like, man, if we just kicked him and took his city, we'd win the
We could
game. And I was like, but we can't do that. And we kept talking about it. We were waiting for that stupid alliance thing to come up so we could like actually have a clear cut, like, what should we do in
Listen,
this
you
moment?
shouldn't have taken on the weak link, man.
Yeah.
Well, and then I promised him at the very beginning, because once you said betrayer cards, I was like, all right, man, if I ever get the chance to do mine, I'll do it. I'll do it. And he was like,
And
all right.
me and Hector had basically like given up every single thing we had to make sure that our side could win by giving Rob basically everything. And we're like, Rob, take all our money, to do whatever you got to do to win this. And it's like, we can win this together. You're like, yeah, we can win this together. And then it happened. And then you're like, and I play this card and I win by myself.
Well, hold on. I played the card because of AJ. I played that card because when we got done, as soon as the game ended, AJ looked at me because remember he was sitting right beside me.
Yeah.
You were sitting across from me, and AJ looked at me. He said, "You said you would do it. You said you would betray. You said you would play the card. You better do it. You better do it."
And I was like, we can win together, Rob. We can do
And I
this
was like,
together.
"No, I
and then
promise,
like,
AJ."
I don't want to do it together. Betrayed.
Oh man, I pulled that card out. But man, that game was also the game where I did that like mind trick on you, Matt. You remember?
Oh,
When
I
you're
love
like,
that
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I was like,
God,
"Hey
that
man,
was pretty-
what's the name of my general?" And you're like, "Oh crap!" Oh.
Yeah,
Man, that was such an epic game. It was like a 2+ hour game. That was so much. It was the worst, best gaming experience ever. Because it was like worse because like I felt terrible for AJ and everything that was going on, and just like the game was good, but I think it could have been better. But the stories, I mean, we've talked about that game for 3+ years now.
And we've only played it.
4+.
I've only played it once. And I'm
I've
pretty
only
sure Rob
played it that
also
once,
played it one time.
Oh
And
man,
we still talk about that game.
Still talk
it's
No,
like-
this was not where Roy
Even-
betrayed everyone. Roy did his job. Just Rob betrayed everyone. So
no, but
about
Roy
that?
did betray AJ pretty hardcore at the beginning, and that's
Yeah.
how all this happened. Because I think it was Roy, Hector, and AJ, and Roy had the opportunity for AJ or for Roy and Hector, I believe, to win faster if they dumped AJ. And once AJ got dumped, you know when you're mad, you know when you're playing a game with your friend and they're talkative and they're joking and they're laughing. I don't know if you guys remember. You remember the days when AJ would whisper into the microphone?
yes.
Yeah.
We're on Twitch. We're on Twitch, and all of a sudden you hear that, "Hey, everybody, how's everybody doing out there in the Twitch world, blah, blah, blah." AJ wasn't saying a thing. He was just sitting there like, oh, just like a kid that just got spanked and put in the corner. He was so mad. It was so much fun. That's up there with like Lion Wolf Squid and other memories I have of board games. Like just things, I mean, throughout time, I can't imagine what it would take for me to forget that. That was such a good time.
And then our first guest, it was on like our 10th episode or something like that. We had Isaac Vega come on, and that was a big
Was he
deal
our very
for us.
first official?
Well, no, we had.
He was our first
he wasn't
board game guest.
He was our first board game guest because we did have the guy who talked about Tabletop
Twitch.
Simulator before that.
Zanetrix, I believe his name
Yeah.
was.
He was a cool dude. But then we had the designer of Dead of Winter on the podcast, and I was actually pretty nervous, like, because I mean, we were just like starting, you know.
no
I was like, oh my goodness, we have Isaac Vega on the podcast. And I had listened to the Plaid Hat podcast for forever, so like it was a huge deal for me. And I still remember, like, after we finished the podcast, Isaac was just like, you guys are doing a great thing, like, keep this up, like, you guys are gonna go super far. And like, he said a lot of encouraging things to us, like, at the end of the podcast. I'm like, man, you didn't say that, that's so awesome. And that still feels like that helped drive my passion for doing board game media, like, to this day, you know. And now
Yeah.
I technically work in board game media, so it's pretty crazy.
Man,
And then after that was like shortly before Gen Con, and then we went and we were in the Plaid Hat booth. Me and Rob were sitting there. This was the year that just me and Rob, and who else did we go with? Rob.
no, it's just me and you.
We went to
And
Gen
I
Con.
had my buddy Steven, remember?
Yes,
he
me, you, and
had,
Steven, and we went to Gen
What
Con,
did he-
and
he had that Lyme disease, and he had to like shock himself every night before he went to bed and crap.
yeah.
Man.
But that was an awesome Gen Con, and like we were literally standing in the middle of the Plaid Hat booth, and Rob had asked Emerson to sign his thing for him at the Nazca Games booth, because this was when Emerson still had his own booth at Gen Con, because he was still doing things by himself, and he wasn't doing as much freelance stuff, but he had done Spectre Ops, and Rob got him to sign that, but we were still standing in the Plaid Hat booth, and then Emerson comes back over and is like, hey, I know you guys. Like, I know
Yes.
you guys. I watched you
Yep.
guys podcast. You guys are
Yes.
on Twitch, right? This was back when we did everything on Twitch, and like me and Rob were just like, what? He's like, oh man, you guys are great. And I'm just like, what? It blew my mind. So, and for our last episode, next week, we are going to have actually Emerson and Isaac on the show.
Yeah.
And Josh.
Emerson,
Yeah.
I put down meeting Emerson because like he's like one of those, you ever hear the thing like you don't want to meet your heroes or something like that. And I'm not saying like Emerson's a hero of mine, but like he's one of those designers that I really look up to. And then after meeting him, it just did not let me down, did not disappoint. Because sometimes you meet people and they're like pricks, or something like that. But Emerson, super sweet, super cool from the get-go. And then do you remember when Emerson cussed out Matt?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you Secret Hitler, 1:00 in the morning, and Roy is yelling at this woman he had just met a half an hour prior to that.
Listen, I was
Or an
super.
hour prior.
She's trying to design games now, and I was super nice to her.
You were not super.
No,
nice
I
to her.
mean
You were like, I know it's you.
after this.
We were playing Secret Hitler, and Emerson got the math about 90% right, but he did not attest for me. And he said, "Shut up!" And I was like, "Oh!"
Well, because Matt did something, and he was trying to act like he was good, and we're just like, no, that doesn't work out.
I know this. I've done the calculations, and there's a 78.73457% chance that you are a bad guy, blah, blah, and just shut up, blah, blah. It was so epic. It was so amazing. Like, even when he cusses at you, he's still the sweetest person ever. Like, man, that was, and that's actually, that was one of my next memories, because I wrote down several. But our first Gen Con together as like a crew.
Oh yeah,
where we went together
with Pleshik.
Yes, you remember I still have pictures on my phone from sleeping with Brandon Pleshik. The videos we made of each other snoring and the noises that we all made. Roy with this crazy inhale, our snoring. Matt outing himself in Secret Hitler. When we played in the room.
Yeah, that
To
first
the pounds of cheese that Pleshik brought from Wisconsin that we never ate. Because he had cubes and cubes and cubes of cheese.
That's awesome.
Man, and then Hector falling asleep. Like every time Hector sat down, if he wasn't playing a game, he would fall asleep. And then the food and the running and the jalapeno breadsticks and St. Elmo's yelling at Tom Bassel, "Hey, that's your daughter!" But like so stupid.
I remember when I first started, like, because Brandon found our podcast and was a fan of the podcast, and then he ended up doing a sponsorship for the show. He was a sponsorship for a ton of episodes, so he helped us get off the ground and start doing stuff and continuing to do it and help subsidize the cost back in the day to run the show, and that meant a lot. And he made Epic Gaming Night t-shirts, and we had our 4X shirt, and I remember I told him, I was like, "Hey man, send one of these 4X shirts to Sam." And I remember the first time I saw Sam Healy wearing this 4X shirt, I flipped out. He was like, "Oh my goodness, the dude from the Dice Tower is wearing a shirt that I helped design." Because me and Brandon basically designed that together. I told him what I wanted. I told him how I wanted to lay out, and he made the graphic design a little bit better. And it was just awesome. And then at that Gen Con, or maybe which Gen Con was it? It was either that Gen Con or the first one. We saw Sam, and he was wearing the 4X shirt, and I'm just like, "You know who designed that shirt? I designed that shirt. What then?" So it was awesome.
That was great. And thank you, Ray. Yes, it was funny when Isaac thought I was Roy, and I was super excited about that. That is a hilarious story for those that don't remember. I had a deep conversation with Isaac via text message, and at
that
the
was
end, he's
last year, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, Roy, you're hilarious," and I said, "Excuse me, excuse me," and then he felt bad. "Oh no, I meant it's just so blah blah blah." So anyway, I'm gonna try to forget that one, but I don't know if I could forget that one. But that was.
Well, you only talked about it on the next 37 episodes after that happened.
Bro, it was deep. It cut. It hurt.
Dude, but then when I actually went to Gen Con, everybody was calling me Rob just because they heard the story, and they wanted to get back at me for something that I had nothing to do with. So
yeah. You know what I'm gonna miss?
And I look at it, I'm like, did they accidentally call me Rob? And then I look at the smirk on their face. I'm like, they did not accidentally call me Rob. They called me Rob on purpose.
Oh, yeah. You and I don't look alike. The only thing that we have in common is we're both white and we have hair. That's it. Besides being white and hair on top of our heads, there is nothing else. Nothing else that matches us. So, yeah. I'm going to miss the Asmodee rants.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna miss the Asmodee rants and our deep discussions on the European economic crisis
Yeah, for sure.
and parawapsy and apowapsy and time
even-
travel talks and all that stuff. You remember parawapsy and apowapsy?
Oh
I
yeah.
do remember Apple some Perry.
And I'm not even saying it right.
He's not even saying it right.
after all these years.
I still can't say it right.
I remember one episode Rob was talking about how he really thinks that Europa should be a planet. And I was just like, what? I don't understand, Rob. Why are you saying that? That doesn't even make sense to say.
Just cause.
He's like, they should make it a planet. I'm like, that's not how that works. Anyway.
But man,
Orbits.
I'm gonna miss all of those getting mad at Asmodee because here's the problem: is I'm still gonna get mad. Like,
Yep.
and I'm mad at them now on how they're handling flipping A Song of Ice and Fire. Like they suck. They suck with their distribution. But like no one's gonna hear it now. My wife's just gonna tell me to be quiet, go to the other room. You know, like at least with you guys, you know, like there's people in chat and stuff like that who are like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, Rob." Blah, blah, blah." But like now it's just gonna be like my daughter saying, "Daddy, we don't care."
You should just
And
get on
my
social
wife-
media and like have like
Yeah.
out of breath rants with the camera really close to your face, just yelling about different things to have get your
I may
outlet.
do that for like Instagram posts or something like that.
We could
Guys,
just-
listen, I gotta tell you what Asmodee's doing now. And then just have like
terrible.
behind you just a whole bunch of strings and like pictures of different things with Asmodee in the middle of it.
We can make a post Aegean self care Discord channel, and then you can just post all of your rants there.
Yeah,
People can stop by and be like, "Well, you know, it's still going."
bro, you remember when that
hatred's
guy
still
made
there.
that song about you, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh,
It wasn't
dude.
about- it was about the whole show.
Yeah, but didn't he have like a whole section about you and you being made of cheese and stuff like that?
Yeah, 'cause
I'm pretty sure that's, like,
he,
private
did
on the
auto-tune
channel.
the news thing. Like, so he took clips from the show and then like weaved it into a song. It was so cool.
I
was-
think that's like private on the channel. I should make it public on the channel.
Absolutely.
Because I think it was like slightly edgy, but at the time I was like, "Oh my goodness, slightly edgy." But we're way
Oh,
past that at this point. We're way
Oh,
past that.
yeah. I mean, not that we're
Because
like,
at the time, that was still the email in the Dice Tower to be like, "Hello, hi," for new podcast consideration times.
Yeah, we want to be family friendly. Oh man, how many pages back do I have to go to find this?
oh man, that chili challenge,
Oh,
Oh yeah, I need to make that public too.
bro. That hot sauce and stupid Roy. Screw you, man. I'm just trying to win the game and have Matt and I eating the hottest stuff first.
It was.
You know
fun.
what's funny? To this day, I still have no idea how to play Scoville.
Yeah, yeah, because we ended up like abandoning the rules, and I never paid attention because I was like, "Crap, we're
We
about."
abandoned the rules on like turn 2.
I might
think.
have to like.
It was like, hello.
I
But
might have
but
to, like-
Roy's still playing for real, and he's like, "Nope, I just did this white chili and this black chili. That's the hottest combination. All right, you guys go to Blair's Megadeth sauce."
My
Like,
favorite part was when like I was dying, like it was wrecking me, and I went in the other room, and it just kept going, and you guys are like looking like, is he okay? And then Rob's like, I think he's throwing up. I think he's throwing up, and Matt's
man,
like,
we were
no,
hearing
he's
voice-
fine, he's fine. And then I come back, I was like, dude, I threw up, and you're like, ah.
man, you were making noises, and then you were like not drinking anything. I'm gonna try to go through. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I
didn't
a
drink
jug of
anything
water
until
in
the
one hand
bomb.
and a jug of milk in the other hand. Man, I was so
I
that
just
was
want everybody
hilarious.
to know I built up my tolerance since that video, so I'm not quite that weak anymore.
Oh, bro, I'm still that weak. I mean, I had fun, and I'd do it again for like like a cause or a reason, because we did that for Patreon, man. I remember all that stuff, and Roy dyeing his hair the different colors and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, the chili video.
What is all this madness? I just made it public on the channel, but it might end up being like super far back, so I might like download it and re-upload it, just so it's not super far back.
I just take the link and like post it out on Twitter and Instagram and be like, "Hey man, check this out. It's available."
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to find that song.
You remember, Matt, when you and I finally joined chat?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys weren't even in chat for like a long time.
And we thought Adam Sparkles for the longest time.
Yeah, because I would just
would
read
like
it, but I mean, I was too busy like hosting the show, so wasn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
half paying attention, to
Come to
what's
find
going
out, like
on.
Roy's mispronouncing half of these people's names, and now we're in chat. And I think that was like one of the greatest things ever. One, because like we still call Adam Sparkles and Darth Grader and stuff, and he goes by all that stuff now. But like, just this whole communication with chat and everything like that opened up the show for me personally, like so much.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Being able to see what everybody says.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, Crystal said the video popped up in her subscription feed.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, Amy's giving the backup advice.
Oh man, Panic. That idea for my voice lasted one episode. Or Ray, that lasted one episode.
The D&D thing.
When I tried to do this like for 3 hours,
Yeah.
not good.
Oh man. Man, but we played so many great games, like just over
Yeah.
the years.
Oh,
I remember
we played.
when you used to
bunch
get
of-
mad at me about Blood Rage all the time. You're like, whatever, Roy's not that good at Blood Rage. You're like, I'll beat him. And then you got better. And then you went
I
and,
still
like,
feel
did
that
good
way.
at tournaments.
Let's talk about the game of all games for this podcast. There's only one game that could be crowned king for this podcast.
Rhino Hero?
That's Rhino Hero. No other game.
We championed the
compares to
crap
Rhino
out of that
Hero.
game, too.
Especially for, I mean, we started this show on Rhino Hero. It has been our cornerstone, our foundation for years.
And I love that,
Super
like, a
Rhino
ton
Hero-
of people would tag us and be like, finally bought Rhino Hero because of the Epic Gaming Night podcast. And Haba
Yes.
was, like, messaging us being like, yo, what, like, all these people are saying that they bought it because of your podcast. I'm like, because we love that game. That game's amazing.
Yes. And I remember when she was on the show, I can't remember her name, but
Oh,
and she was telling us about Super Rhino Hero, and we're like, what, really? Now, she didn't tell us about it on the show. She was telling us after the show. And she was like, oh, yeah, you connect these towers and lose. I was like, oh, my goodness. Oh, man. But, my goodness. Man, it was Rhino Hero. Rhino Hero was just... We played a lot of great games, man. But Rhino Hero, to me, just those times where, like, we're yelling at each other and trying to... I'm yelling at people, and... That one time, you remember when you turned the fan on and we're playing Rhino Hero and we're trying to like move with the fan to block it from knocking over the tower? Oh, like absolutely love Rhino Hero.
Yeah, for sure. Nice.
Oh, boy.
I've got more. If you guys want to stop, we can. I can.
I mean, I
there's
can
definitely.
riff on whatever you say.
Oh, to all of the wood-smelling cologne, walnut chip, freaking CEOs of companies to names that rhymed with your name, people that I did on Patreon, I freaking love you. To the cedar colognes, to the pine perfumes, to all the crazy stuff. And all the crazy names and all the crazy things that happen from Patreon, and not misidentifying people's names and genders, and not knowing what I'm saying, and calling guys girls and calling girls guys, and all the crazy stuff, and not trying to do it to be derogatory, but just I really don't know if Alex is a he or Alex is a she, and so I'm saying everything all over the spectrum. That was so much fun. And that was so ridiculous. The whole Patreon shout outs when I did the whole stuff where it was just like, like I remember I had a few people, especially on that were our Patreon backers, like would come up to me and they were like, you know what, man, I saved that audio recording of what you did. And like I play it for my wife, or I play it for my partner, or I play it for my husband every once in a while to let them know that Robert thinks I'm so and so. And like it just meant like so much to me because one, I'm just being silly and I'm literally just saying stuff off of the cuff. But two, like I don't know, I felt like in a way like it helped me connect with you guys. Like I really like, man, try not to get all sentimental, so I'm gonna calm down for a second. But I really do love you guys, and like that was a lot of fun, and that was absolutely great. And like still people like, man, we were just at Dice Tower Con, and I had people asking me about cologne. Like Still, clone. You know, the stupidest stuff ever. But it was so great. And my favorite part, and this is gonna be really mean, but my favorite part is like when Matt and Roy are like, hey, John Doe, thanks for backing us on Patreon. All right,
just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it at all.
Yep.
You know, it was just like, oh, okay, you know. And then whenever it eventually came to the point, hey, Rob, you're just gonna do all of it. You're just gonna do all of it.
We just weren't able to keep up with your level of hype, man.
I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss the and it's not like it's like our goodbye just yet. But I don't know. It kind of feels like, you know, graduating high school, you know, a little bit like you're going to you're still going to see people around, you know, on social media and other stuff like that, but it's not going to be the same, you know, and you say you're going to stay in touch and stuff like that. It's just, you know, it sucks because like I'm going to miss talking to Darth.
Yeah.
Just talking to like Adam and all these other people and like seeing Ambi and Crystal on the chat and like all these new people that have joined towards the end, you know, and meeting Jordan, you know, dude from Hawaii. We just slept in the same room together. I mean, all this connection, all this 7 degrees of connectivity, just from board games. I mean, just from flipping board games, meeting all these amazing, beautiful people in our lives, meeting everybody but Mark. Mark had to get on. It was such a beautiful moment. I was going deep, and then all of a sudden I see Mark Kale. Just ruined. Mark just ruined it. But even Mark Kale, freaking love Mark Kale. He does a fantastic job. He does that con, Mega Moose Con, and then he does the Moose Con quarterly and stuff like that. I mean, he doesn't have to do any of that stuff, but he does it because he loves the hobby. I mean, some of the greatest people I have met in my life are board gamers. And I appreciate all of you. I really do love all you guys, and gonna miss you.
I kind of just want to read off like the name of our active patrons at this point, because like these people are still on our Patreon even after I'm like, hey, get off of here. Just because like there's so many awesome people that have like helped out. Like even the people that's like $1 backer since like forever ago, you know. It's like Sean and Raphael and Wayne and Micah and Doug and Daniel and Nick and another Michael and then Pasquale. Remember Pasquale?
I remember Pasquale.
Chris.
He was in chat like
for a long time.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Chris and Darth and Kyle and Lloyd and Crystal. I don't know who that is. Then EJ, Adam, Sean, Paul, James, Fitzgerald. What? Doug Bass. He's a local friend. Kent Parker.
And they're still backing?
Yeah. Trevor.
And they obviously don't listen
Trevor
to the show.
Roberts. Liz. Ubermex.
Oh, Liz is great.
Andrew and my mom.
Hey.
Have the latest podcasts gone out on iTunes and stuff like that?
I need to check up on that. Are they saying that we're having issues with that again?
I think we've. I don't know if they've said it in chat, but I believe we have over the last couple of weeks.
I'll check that out again too.
The last one that popped up, I believe, is Origins.
Crystal said, "I don't know how to quit you."
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, so yeah, thanks everybody for who ended up supporting us. I mean, there's tons of people over the months that we had the Patreon going that helped do all that stuff and put everything together. So y'all are all amazing, and thanks so much for helping along the way.
Yeah.
But especially, I mean, because honestly, there was a time when Heather was working, I was staying at home with the kids. I would literally work nights. Like for a long time there, I didn't work on Tuesdays. Like I didn't go to my job that I had because I was doing the podcast, and they knew that I was doing the podcast on Tuesday night. Then I started going to work after the podcast, which is literally insane. Like I would like do the podcast and then go to work. But then there was also a time there where like I didn't work while I was watching the kids, and I was trying to do more board game media stuff and things like that. But things were really tight. And the fact of like, even just the fact that I would have to pay for the fees to keep the podcast listing going and pay for the editing software fees and things like that. And we had like super high speed internet back at our old house, and like all that stuff, like things were tight, and the fact that we had that Patreon like helped keep the podcast going, and it like actually meant a ton. So y'all are all amazing. Thanks for everything you guys have done, and you guys are definitely a huge help in keeping this podcast going, even without all the other crazy stuff. So thanks for joining us and making it happen. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, well, we're definitely still going to be around. We're not going to like leave social media. You're not going to see us just completely disappear. I mean, I'm still going to be doing tons of stuff with the Dice Tower and stuff like that all over the place. And I've got other projects that hopefully you'll hear about someday. And
no, Roy's definitely survived the snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Matt and Rob will be around. Matt's a little bit harder on social media. Matt, you're gonna have to be more active on social media so that all of your fans can still keep in contact with you.
Yeah, if you follow me on social media and you notice I haven't made a post in a long time, just shoot me a DM and I'll post something.
Hey,
Man.
Matt, you haven't posted any pictures of pizza. And,
that's the problem. Is then when he does post, he posts like all these amazing either pizza or cakes or cookies, and you're like, screw board games. Matt cooked for me. And I've had his pizzas. They're great, man. He has that personal pizza fryer. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Roy, I need to send you the dates for Cabin Con. I don't know if you're able to come, but we're actually going to do it in November.
Oh, November?
November, because the weekend we had picked out in December is actually PAX Unplugged.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
who knows?
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be good stuff. You know what? Here's the thing that sucks the most is now Mark is going to charge me double if I go to like a Mega Moose Con event. It's like, like
you
not
did that
even
to
like
yourself.
a one shot like as a friend thing. It's like, oh, you're not with Roy anymore. You got nope, double. What's your ticket? Yeah, double it. for both of your cheeks, double that. So, anyway,
he's just making you pay for the years that you that he let you in just because we were together. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Roy's plus one.
Oh man, we did have some fun at Mega Moose Con too, though. There was some good times that we
had some good times.
So we played that escape room that was terrible, but I had fun taking the picture outside of it.
We played good games, man, at Mega Moose Con, and anyway, good times. I know Matt's got to get to bed.
Yeah.
And I know stuff is going down. We love you guys. Absolutely love you guys. If you're just now listening to this and it's, after August 1st, cancel your Patreon.
Well, I mean, I'm going to cancel the entire Patreon, so it'll be gone. So.
But anyway, we appreciate you guys. Really do. This is the hard part. I'm trying not to get emotional. So if we can just end here, I'll cry off the screen.
Yeah, next week, make sure you come back for that. Like, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell all your friends to join in because it should be a wild ride. We're going to have a bunch of people on the show. Crystal and Amber are going to come on. Adam's going to come on. So a lot of people.
Emerson.
Isaac,
Josh,
Emerson,
Lubkowitz.
Josh. Lots of people that we've had on the show multiple times, and I feel like it would be cool to have them join back in for our last episode and help sign us off.
Josh was a great guest.
So thanks everybody for joining us. Y'all are all the best.
Last thing, you guys remember when I did those crazy LinkedIn searches for guests and freaked some people out? That just hit me.
So much
people
fun.
Were like, you know what? Yeah, man.
And then Matt, when we used to just rag him for only saying yeah.
Yeah.
Things have changed so much. He's so talkative now. It's really hard to get him to stop talking.
Oh, yeah. So what I'm known for is my incredible small talk.
Or when there's that awkward silence and where he doesn't know what to say, so it's hype. All right.
Or I'd be like,
hype.
or I'd get slightly annoyed because I'd be like, Matt, what are you doing? You're like, I'm watching speed runs. I'm like, we're doing a podcast. You're like, nah. I'm like, I can tell you're not paying attention to us. You're looking at another screen. You're like, but this dude's doing real good at Mario.
Oh man, good times.
But that Dragon Quest speed run, that's worth it.
Yeah, man.
Dude, those are actually really epic. Anyway, hey, you guys are all the best. Thanks, everybody. Make sure to check us all out on... I'm still going to keep the Epic Gaming Night thing going at Epic Gaming Night. Matt's at Chuggaslug and at Shades of the Mind. Rob is at Writing Newman and at Board Game Newman, right?
For Instagram, yes, I am actually RS Newman Writes.
RS
and
Newman
Board Game-
writes.
RS Newman Writes. Well, my pen name is RS Newman.
Gotcha.
And then my board game one is Board Game Newman.
Sweet. Okay,
Yeah.
well, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you all back here next week.
Boom.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.